Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking those big, vague product ideas and sharpening them into crystal clear product positioning. We're drawing on a phenomenal Harvard Innovation Labs masterclass by Michael Skoke and mixing it with some fresh e-commerce personalization data from VW. We're going to learn how to stop building products people might just kind of like and start building products they will absolutely buy. All right, here's our quick roadmap for today. We'll kick things off by avoiding the boil the ocean trap. Figure out your minimum viable segment, map out that user persona, run their pain through the 4Us framework, and finish up by writing your ultimate value proposition. Let's jump into section 1, the boil the ocean trap. It's the illusion of everyone. We're starting by confronting a pretty dangerous myth that causes most new products to fail before they even get off the ground. So, quick question for you. Who exactly is your target customer? Be honest. If your knee-jerk reaction is to say everyone, well, you're stepping right into a massive trap. Thinking everyone is your market is actually terrifying for a business. I mean, how do you even pick a marketing channel? How do you write copy that magically connects with a 16-year-old gamer and a 7-year-old retiree at the exact same time? You literally can't. And this is exactly why those generic one-size-fits-all storefronts are just getting totally ignored these days. Meanwhile, the hyper-personalized experiences, the ones that actually solve a very specific pain, those are the ones converting. Recent data from VWO makes this super clear. Modern shoppers expect instant relevance. If your experience doesn't feel like it was custom-built just for them, they're going to bounce. Get this, 73% of consumers use multiple channels when they shop. That means customer journeys are incredibly fragmented right now. You know how it is. Someone might discover you on Instagram, go look you up on their phone's browser later, and then finally buy in a physical store. It's a chaotic journey. Trying to capture a broad, generic audience across all of that, it's practically impossible without laser-like focus. Moving right along to section 2, minimum viable segment, or narrowing your focus. Let's look at how this concept actually builds the foundation for your target audience. So, your crucial first step here is defining this minimum viable segment, your MVS. You can think of it like the absolute perfect dance partner for your minimum viable product. Instead of dragging your product in a dozen different directions trying to please everyone, you just find one precise path. You're looking for a very specific group of people who share the exact same needs. That way, you can sell them the exact same product over and over again without changing a single line of code or a single feature. Michael Skoke really hits the nail on the head here. He says, trying to boil the ocean and sell to the world at large is a very big undertaking. You're going to fail by default. And it's so true. If you don't aggressively narrow down your market to this minimum viable segment, your resources are just going to be pulled in a million different directions, and, well, your business simply won't survive. All right, section 3, mapping the user persona. It's time to take them from anonymous to understood. We need to map out exactly who this specific user in your segment is, zeroing in entirely on their daily reality. To truly get your persona, you've got to map out their primary motivations directly against their biggest barriers. And the best way to do this? Privacy first, zero-party data. This is simply the info your customers willingly share with you through things like preference centers or fit finders. Think about those Sephora beauty quizzes. They literally ask users explicitly what they want, which totally knocks down the barrier of a generic experience and hands the brand the exact blueprint to create a hyper-personalized solution. Now, you might be thinking, are people really going to share all this personal info? Well, surprisingly, yes. 77% of online shoppers actually trust businesses more when data usage is clearly explained. So this proves that users absolutely will hand you the roadmap to their pain points, as long as you put in the effort to earn their trust and keep things transparent. The biggest takeaway here is incredibly simple, but so powerful. Stop pitching and start asking. You have to evaluate your persona through the eyes of the customer themselves. Please do not sit in a conference room making assumptions about what they might want. Get out there in the real world and ask them to define the root cause of their pain. Just keep digging until they look at you and say, yes, that is exactly the problem I have, and it's so big that I desperately need a solution. Which brings us perfectly to section 4, the 4S framework, where we evaluate the pain. Because look, just because a persona exists doesn't automatically mean their problem is worth your time or money to solve. Enter the 4Us framework. This comes straight out of Michael Skoke's masterclass, and it is the ultimate test to gauge the actual severity of your user's daily pain point. Basically, the absolute best problems for you to solve are unworkable, unavoidable, urgent, and underserved. Let's break these down real quick. First, unworkable. Is this problem so bad that it causes severe consequences? Like, could someone get fired over it? Skoke talks about how the very first iPhones had massive activation issues, leading to huge fallout until the workflow got fixed. Next up, unavoidable, think inevitable stuff like taxes, aging, or major life events, things the user just can't escape. Third, is it urgent? If you ask your customer what their absolute number one priority is when they wake up, are you addressing that? Because if your solution is number 10 on their list, yeah, you're not getting their attention. And finally, underserved. Is there just a total lack of market access to a solution right now? When you're evaluating this pain, you have to be brutally honest with yourself. Are you building a nice-to-have vitamin, or are you building a blatantly critical must-have painkiller? A vitamin is latent, it's aspirational. Sure, it's nice to have, but let's be real, it's super easy to forget to take it. But a painkiller, that is critical. They literally cannot function without it. You definitely want to be in the business of building painkillers. And that ties right into the gain versus pain heuristic. Look, asking a user to adopt any new product brings them some level of pain. Maybe it's a financial cost, the time it takes to learn a clunky new UI, or just the perceived risk of trusting a new startup. Because of these switching costs, plus just, basic human laziness, the gain you deliver has to massively outweigh the pain of adopting your solution. A lot of the time, this means you need to deliver a 10x breakthrough in value. If you don't, the user is just going to shrug and stick with the status quo. All right, final stretch. Section 5, writing your value proposition. This is the ultimate synthesis. We're going to take all of this macro research and boil it down into the single, most powerful sentence your business will ever write. We're going to build your single value proposition sentence step by step using this proven 5-part formula. It's super structured. You have to clearly identify exactly who it's for, what they are currently dissatisfied with, the root problem causing that dissatisfaction, the very specific solution you bring to the table, and finally, the overwhelming benefit it provides them. And boom, here is your ultimate payoff. When you plug in all the hard work we just went through, it looks exactly like this. For our minimum viable segment, dissatisfied with the status quo due to an unworkable, unavoidable, urgent, and underserved problem, we offer a solution that provides a 10x benefit. This is pure gold. It gives you a crystal clear articulation of exactly who you serve, the precise pain they are suffering from, and the undeniable benefit you are delivering. I want to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought. Take a really hard look at your brand new value proposition and ask yourself, if your customer had to choose between adopting your product and tackling their absolute number one daily priority, would they even hesitate? You have to make sure the pain you're solving is truly urgent enough to force a change. Keep tweaking, keep iterating until the answer is a resounding yes. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.